I think the biggest problem for retail supply chain this year, and really I think for the foreseeable future, is Amazon. It's what is Amazon doing? How are you going to respond to their ability to offer same-day delivery, insanely low prices, like have the customer's credit card already, so one click. That is hard for the retail world to deal with. And they're going to need to find good tech solutions. They're going to need to find new org structures, new capabilities in the company that they've never had, because they're used to just having four walls in a box and customers come and just buy. And that isn't happening as much anymore. People are going online, price shopping, and Amazon is out executing on the logistics and supply chain side. So retailers, if they can't keep up with Amazon, are going to have a lot of trouble. And I haven't seen a lot of evidence that they can. The most interesting thing that you see in retail is this move from a supply chain to a demand chain. It's how are you being reactive as you get customer orders in, better optimizing where do you keep inventory, and how do you get that product into the customer's hand as fast as possible. We call this omnichannel, you can call it demand-driven supply chain. But it's the ability to find the right product for that customer wherever it is in your supply chain, and if it doesn't exist yet, place the order back to the factory and get it shipped. So being really responsive, and what that looks like in practice is APIs that integrate your entire supply chain upstream to all your vendors, and ultimately programmable supply chain, so that the API, that your demand planning system can be directly hooked to your supply side, and you have artificial intelligence that the entire thing moves on autopilot. That's where I see the world heading. We'll see how fast people can get there, but companies like Amazon are already paving the way. I suspect we're already seeing inklings of it. Like at Flexport, we enable companies to have real-time visibility into where their products are on the sea, and that means you never run out of stock. So your e-commerce site, like if you run out of stock, you just check Flexport and see, okay, I can now list this as ships in 3 weeks instead of out of stock. So that's like early inklings is already happening with customers. We didn't actually intend for that. It was a emergent property of the system. But over the next few years, you'll see that baked into APIs so that it actually directly talks to your site. And your actual, as you get orders, we will make suggestions for, hey, you should place a purchase order to your vendor because you're going to run out of stock, and be predictive and sort of forward-looking. It'll happen faster than you suspect, that all supply chains are run this way, where it's algorithms and machines making these decisions. Instead of today, it's people on the phone and Excel files being emailed around the world. I think it's going to be a while before logistics becomes a mostly digital process, and you'll even see things that will happen on the way there that need to happen before it can, is things like self-driving forklifts, self-driving trucks, automated warehouse, so that no people are involved. Then it can be digital from end to end and not need even a forklift driver. And it's not so much like, oh, we need to save the labor, but it's really about removing mistakes, cutting error rates, consistency, like speed. All those things are going to come from automation there. But even when you have self-driving trucks, self-driving planes, self-driving everything, so there's no people, and so now we're talking about a purely digital world, I'm still not convinced. I still think you need people, because it's logistics. Like, the weather can delay something, or it rains on a cardboard box and now it's wet and soggy. And like a computer algorithm is not going to be very good at that kind of thing. As long as there's uncertainty and unpredictability, and supply chains are inherently complex, so there will be uncertainty. Like, they're complex in the sense that something happens in China which affects something in the US, which then causes some decision over here, which then re-affects the original cause back in China. Like, that's a complex system. You have a feedback loop and you'll have chaotic outcomes. As long as there's chaos and uncertainty and unpredictability, there will be people needed to troubleshoot and solve that problem. So I don't predict a world with no people in supply chains, until doing so would be making the prediction of artificial intelligence, right? And I'm not qualified to say when that happens. Like Ray Kurzweil says 2029 is the singularity, but I'm not. I have no idea. So the biggest barriers for starting a tech-driven business in logistics are the amount of assets that you need, sort of the economies of scale involved, and the expertise. And so scale, becomes a play. If you're really small, you're not going to get good pricing when you're buying ocean freight or buying air freight. and therefore you can't get the customers you need to get big. So you have a chicken and egg problem that you're kind of constantly climbing a ladder of getting bigger customers, which lets you get better prices, which lets you get bigger customers on the way up. And then on the expertise side, like logistics is really complex and compliance is hard. Troubleshooting, knowing how to get things in and out of tricky situations, or is this person telling me the truth, or is this a lie? Like there's a lot of expertise, years and years and decades of accumulated knowledge. And for a startup, we have to either learn that stuff or recruit people that know it. And so those are what I see as the big barriers to entry: is assets and scale, which is price, and it's expertise, which is sort of service, right? And we have to use technology to redefine those two dimensions of competition, to either make us more scalable, which software is good at, or give us more expertise, which also software can be good at. You can sort of like surface answers to questions automatically, or have knowledge base where we share all the stuff that we know and kind of build off collective knowledge to an extent. It's also the fun part is that we're like, our job is to learn and to grow, and like, cool, that's what we all signed up for when you start a company. So we don't see these challenges as like insurmountable by any means. Flexport has gone from 0 to, well, me, person 3.5 years ago, to now we have 375 people. We'll be, by the end of this year, the 20th biggest freight forwarder in the United States. Well, top 20, hopefully 19 or lower. We've done that through, we started with small customers, and then we would go talk to bigger customers and learn about their problems and then whiteboard solutions potentially. And then they always we never get a no, we always get a if, like, yes, I would buy from you if you could do this or that. And then we come back to our team and decide if we can do that or not. And most of the time we can't, but every now and then we're like, oh yeah, we could actually do that. Why don't we go build that feature or that product? And then we'll go back to the customer. Then you get a big customer committed, and now you can go back to the supply side and get good pricing. And it's sort of this constant running back and forth between the supply and demand sides of the freight business. We've been doing that now for about 3.5 years and gone, like I said, from 0 to 375 people in that time.